What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. Depending on how closely you've been paying attention to Superman 2025 by James Gunn, you're going to think one of two things. Firstly, there's this report. The James Gunn Superman budget clocks in at $225 million. So if you haven't been paying too much attention, you probably think that, boy, that's kind of a lot, right? $225 million. But if you have been following this the whole time, you think, how the hell did he do it for so cheap? Because last year, and at the beginning of last year, and then throughout much of it, we had this whole story that the budget was north of $363 million. And that's because the Columbus Business Journal cited on a government website of Ohio motion picture tax credits revealed $363 million. Gunn again addressed it, saying, I don't know if it's faked or if it's just some weird form an assistant in the Cleveland office filed out putting random stuff in the blanks. I sent it to our accountants and financial producers when it first came out a year ago, and no one knew what it was. I can just tell you that it wasn't anyone on our team. And as pointed out, we should probably believe a document that got filed with the government, most likely under penalty of perjury, as opposed to Gunn. So it did say here that Superman Legacy filed a tax credit application for $36 million, just shy of $37 million, and the full production budget is $363 million. $845,000. They have to provide all this information due to section, and then it lists the Ohio code. So either Gunn is lying, or the studio was doing some fun lying and padding on other things that weren't that budget, and whatever. Either way, the reason most people think right now Superman is going to lose money and keep citing an insane budget is because of this story, right? And that brings us to this, where James Gunn's Superman budget is reportedly clocking in at $225 million. So that new report of $225 million comes from The Wrap, Humberto Gonzalez at The Wrap, who claims that the film has $225 million in budget and thus needs to cross this, which we always knew it had to cross $700 million, but it was going to be more of the 8 to 9 end. Needs to cross $700 million threshold at the global box office to be considered a success, according to a top talent agent. And this changes things if this is the budget, because whether it would even hit 7 was debatable, but the threshold should be easy to surpass given the long-range projections for the film from Box Office Theory, Sean Robbins, who has shown to be accurate in the past and even most recent past. Only has the film bringing in between 154 million and 185 million in its opening weekend. Robbins' pinpoint projection is 175 million. Additionally, he projects the film will have a total domestic gross between 392 million and 510 million. His pinpoint projection is 477 million. And if we can do the same thing internationally, bingo, bango, bongo, they have made money. If this is the budget. Robbins is not the only one to project the film will gross 175 million. We also had Jeff Snyder share during an episode of the Hot Mic, that I hear it's tracking big. I think we're talking 175 million. I haven't heard yet, which would put it as the biggest movies ever. I don't think it's going to be on that level. I think it will be in that ballpark. It'll probably be 155 to 175, 180, that range. 150 to 180. We did see those articles, just before in May, that it's set to soar with a massive opening. For comparisons, though, and they have done inflation math, for comparisons, Man of Steel by Zack Snyder in 2013 had an opening weekend of 128 million, went on to gross 209, just south rather of 300 million domestically, and it added in another 376 million internationally for a global gross of 667 million. If you account for inflation, though, that's $919 million, so almost $1 billion. If Gunn Superman has a similar domestic to international ratio, the film is likely to gross around 850. But that's with our monies, and as adjusted, that means Man of Steel would have still made more than Superman. So I don't know. It might come in as a profit, but it would not make as much as Zack Snyder's if you count for inflation, and that's just fun. Man of Steel, again, Man of Steel had a reported production budget of so in 2013, Man of Steel was made for 225 million, and you're trying to tell me that Gunn made in current day, where everything is supposedly more expensive because everyone's incompetent, he made it for the same money? Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! I'm back to Gunn lied. $363 million is the actual budget, and as reported by the legal tax documents. Yeah, I'm right back to thinking that he's full of shit. Either way, and I've said this before, I still think the film will be successful, because even though James Gunn is a narcissist who makes too many jokes, probably, the more I see a David Corn sweat, obviously Rachel Brosnahan has proved herself as Miss Maisel and all that, and just in the few short scenes I've seen of her in the trailers, she has that Lois vibe. And speaking of the trailers, we are just still shy of 30 million, but over 500,000 upvotes, only 18,000 downvotes. This is 10 million more than have watched the Fantastic Four trailer. And if we're talking about word of mouth, it is far better for Superman. So yeah, we did have those 2 test screenings. We did say that after that, apparently they are editing. They took down 30 minutes. They added a new composer. The tone is being sharpened. Some of the more risque jokes are being taken out. So you really do get that through line. And we are now waiting for the 3rd round of to test screenings that would be showing this newest cut, which by all accounts, apparently the executives are happy with. It's tracking great. So I don't know. I don't like James Gunn, but I love Superman. I'm not going to get my Henry Cavill Man of Steel. And so I do want this to be the best it can. You let me know what you think about this. Do you believe that $225 million is the budget? I would be shocked if it actually was. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.